listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Chief Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Chasing Maria Menounos After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Chasing Maria Menounos After Show.
Hey, what's up, guys? Susie Castillo here. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV and, of course, Oxygen.com. Those of you who are watching from Oxygen.com. We are discussing today episode 7. Does Maria not like me? That was my Maria impersonation of Kathy, which I've been practicing all damn day.
Nailed it.
Did I nail it?
Yeah, totally.
You did that.
Thank you. Well, I will let my crew here introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Roxy Striar.
DJ Jesse Janedy.
Stephanie Bauer.
Hi guys, I'm Jessica King.
And joining us today is the one and only Miss Maria Menounos.
Live tweeting as I normally am, and I must say a big shout out to whoever decided to play the Munsters, because we are the Munsters.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, Kevin literally had the opening of the Munsters on the big screen. He goes, okay, there's me, there's Joe, there's your dad. Like, we really are special.
It's quite
Special is a
family.
good word.
I'm so excited we're on Oxygen's website right now.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, wherever.
Hey, Oxygen.com. We love you guys
Oh, there's
too.
my camera. Hi. That's my studio, and I don't even know where my camera is. That's so embarrassing.
Well, and of course we're in the famous Studio C, which in today's
beautiful
episode,
now.
it's gorgeous. It was so, because I've only seen it this way, so it was really cool to watch it on the episode and see it like bare bones.
Yeah.
Are you proud of Studio C? Are you happy that we invested in it?
I know, it's funny because I walked in and it was lit up, but it wasn't fully lit up. It was just blue. So I took a picture and tweeted it and said, I'm really proud of this, because obviously we meet somewhere in the middle. I temper him to get to a normal place.
It's the push-pull,
Well, we
guys.
see
the
him-
push-pull
that we talk about.
It's true.
We see he didn't get the couch.
What couch? That's
Remember
right.
the
That one.
$70,000 couch.
It's like $500 to $2,000. I'm like, okay, that's really not a budget thing.
What a range.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have matched anyway.
That's true. The black one's nice. So let's talk about Mother. She came to town finally. I've been waiting for this episode for so long.
Dun, dun, dun.
Shout out to Mother for Studio C, though.
I know, right?
Thank you, Kathy, Mother.
Mama,
Although we don't
Kathy.
have the made by Kevin.
Right, we need a plaque.
Hilarious.
we do.
We actually
Just
should.
for Mother.
Yeah.
Dedicated
yeah.
to Mama Kathy.
I
Well,
know.
we'll just
I
put it
think
up
it's
when
a
she
good
idea.
comes. You know, we'll just put it up. She'll come in. She'll see it. She'll be happy. And we can take it down.
Take it down.
That's right.
I mean, the truth is, she's right. He doesn't get any credit for everything that he does behind the scenes. And you guys all know, having seen him behind the scenes, how much he does. So I get it. But it also is hard when, you know, it's not like you can just run around. Like, I can't build a statue, you know, wherever I go and be like, hey, here's everything that went into it. It's like, you know, when it's appropriate and you can bring it up, you bring it up. But
You would have to build one for Costas too, because he built half of the studio. You know, how many statues are we going to build in here? So
every studio has a statue crowded.
But I think it's great that you acknowledge how much credit he deserves, and I think that all of us here, I mean, there's no way not to know that you see his blood, sweat, and tears in the studio. So it's really amazing.
Maria, do you feel like it's a communication thing with Kevin sometimes, in the sense, I think it was a few episodes back, he said, you said to him, why are you getting mad at me? You told me writing a press release gives you the same, you know, creative writing energy that, you know, writing a script does. Do you feel like you allow him to kind of make you feel that way, like, so that you kind of forget, like, oh, maybe he should be working on a script, or maybe he should... Do you think it's like a communication thing, like he acts like everything's all right until other people get in the picture?
Exactly. I feel like because he will say that, and it's like, I'm not saying don't write and don't do all these things. I'm saying I use that one thing as an example, but we had talked about many examples. I'm like, you want to try to like force yourself into being one thing, and if you're not doing that one thing, it's like the world is over. But what you don't realize, and I've told him from the beginning, is you're a natural born teacher and natural born mentor. And you guys see it because that's what he does with all 200 of you. And so he gets an energy from that, or he wouldn't be doing it for free. He's managing 1 million careers for free just because he enjoys helping people. So I'm like, you get a pleasure from that. You love podcasting. That's why you built this network. You love, you know, building brands and building careers. That's why you're behind everything I'm doing. So you have to really like see that you are doing everything you like to do. You are making your films, and you know, it's just, you're just, sometimes he gets into this like negative like vortex, and so I try to kind of bring it to light. But also, you're right, he does kind of hold it all in and then explodes.
Well, does that negative vortex come from people like Kathy telling him, wait, you're not getting enough praise, or where does that come from?
Yeah, I think people can rile him up, of course. I think anybody can get riled up and go. So he gets wound up, and then he goes, and then he's like, actually, what am I talking about?
But I have to say, I love when you guys get into like little like situations that instead of like there being like, you know, it'll be like one person will like outweigh the other one with, you shouldn't have done this, but there's always a funny undertone to it. And I like that you guys kind of keep everything with that funny undertone, so that way it is kind of like when we do get like a really serious topic, it's kind of like even you guys don't even know how to, you're like, okay, this is awkward, can we joke yet?
Like lighthearted.
Yeah, I know. Well, I give him that credit because he makes everything funny. You know, he really does.
It's hard to stay serious in those situations.
I mean, you see me, like, I'm so obedient when he yells at me at Marshall. I'm like, oh shit, I disappointed him. Like, okay, I can do that. Like, what else do I need to do to make you happy now? Like, I get it.
So, I mean, going back to Kathy being, you know, the person that kind of, one of the people who revs Keven up, right, into this, his negativity spirals. How was her visit? Like, what did we not see in tonight's episode? Because it was, the dinner was kind of tense.
Oh, the dinner was
got a little crazy.
Awkward family dinner.
You weren't expecting your parents to get like that, or your dad to get like that, were you? You thought probably you just had to deal with mother.
Yeah, but they also haven't had, it's the same thing. We all haven't been together that much. So,
That's so strange.
I didn't really know what was to be expected. I didn't expect that.
The kids and marriage.
so
out of
Yeah, but did you
nowhere.
see the smirk on my face when she started defending me in a sense? I was like, yeah. I'm like, shit, I thought this could go a whole other way.
Maybe
but
mother should come more
Well, because
often.
Mother was talking about Studio C, and then Costas brought up the whole kid thing like so randomly. Like,
because
he was
he's so
waiting.
angry about it.
Yeah.
Anytime he gets us like in a scenario like
Yeah.
that, he thought probably he was going to get backup from them. So he's like, I'm going for it.
Yeah.
He was lying in wait.
Was it as
And that
awkward in real
backfired.
life as it was to us watching it?
Yeah, totally. Are you kidding me? We went back upstairs, and like you said, we
How
kind of make
long
light
was
of
it?
light of it, but we're like,
How
Like
long
she-
did that conversation go down there?
the dinner?
Yeah.
I remember it was a full dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like hear the silverware clanking. The camera people are like,
Yeah.
Like
So
scraping your
whenever
plate.
whenever she got up and like grabbed her glass of, I think, did she take her glass of wine?
Oh, hell
to, like,
yeah.
back
Yeah. I was proud of her for
that.
that.
Right. She was like, well, have a good night. It's like she was done with the conversation. But I thought it was so cool that she was on your side, because this entire
too.
time, like building up to tonight's episode, we, you know, Kathy's been Kathy,
Yeah.
right? Like, we don't know if Maria likes her or not
I
yet.
know, when
till
she
today.
says that, like, my heart crushes every time.
Yeah.
Does Maria not like me?
Oh,
and I'm
my
like,
God.
it, like, murders my heart.
she knows
And
she's
she said
doing
it
that.
hurt
I think
her
she
feelings.
knows.
Yeah?
I think she knows.
Really?
She's
Oh,
doing
I
it
never
on
thought about
purpose.
it like that.
I think
No.
she.
I don't think it's
in a way-
malicious.
No, not malicious. But I really think she just wants to hear, yes, you like her. She has to know that you like her.
Yeah.
Because
You're,
you
you're
know,
the love of her life's mother. She has to know you like her, but I think she wants to hear it from Keven. She
it's
wants to hear it
Yeah.
from you.
older generation thing. I
I
think.
think
Yeah,
just
for
like
sure.
you want her approval, like she wants yours.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
both
it
have
goes
wanted
both
that. But
ways.
it's, the other thing that's funny is I've waited so long for this episode, even though I completely forgot what it was. I do remember, obviously, that this is where Kathy and I kind of bonded. You know, because people watch the whole progression of the show, and it's like, you know, not fun to know that you're having issues with your mother-in-law. But for me, people have all asked me, like, why are you doing a reality show? Yada, 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 breaks up couples, blah, blah. And I start laughing because I'm like, I wish I could tell you, it actually mends things too. Like, this was one of those situations where a relationship was not only mended, but formed. And we really did have such great bonding time. Like, The ride to Nurse Jamie's was way awkward. You guys didn't even get to see that, but literally it's going to be on Oxygen's website definitely, hopefully tomorrow. If not, I will be getting the video and tweeting it. It's so painful. I'm so trying so hard, and it was not being reciprocated. And then at some point, the whole north-south thing happened because I was looking at my directions, not texting and not tweeting. I was watching my MapQuest, and it said head north on La Cienega or whatever. And I'm like, which way is north? I don't know. And so we bonded over that quickly. And then from that moment on, everything we talked about, I was like, well, I'm like that. And she's like, well, I'm like that. And I'm like, I'm like that. And by the time we got to Nurse Jamie's, like some groundwork was kind of like laid down. We got in there. And the reason why I asked her if she would be okay with facials is because anytime I get so many freebies and I'm always giving them out. And anytime I've sent her stuff, I've found out that she gives away or throws it away because I don't, my skin's so sensitive and she doesn't use it.
Just like her personality.
Yeah. Oh my God, I died. And so I didn't know. Like Kevin's asking me to take her on the facial. I'm like, what are we going to take her on the facial for? She's not going to want to do it because she's very she's got her things that she does and her things that she doesn't do.
It was about spending time with you.
Exactly. But I didn't really connect that in that moment because most people don't want to go do something they don't want to do. Right. They'd rather do something they want to do and spend the time. So it didn't work in my brain in the moment. But when we got there, she started doing whatever that laser was. It's not like you feel needles go in, but there were 11 needles, like they said, that pop you. And I was terrified to do it. And she's like, oh, just try it. It'll be fine. And so she pushed me to do it. And then I'm like, I'm not doing it unless you do it. Yeah. So then she's doing it. So then we're bonding over that. And then I had them go crazy because Nurse Jamie's a friend of ours. That's how we got to shoot there. And I'm like, Nurse Jamie, do some other stuff. Do some other lasers and fun things. And so she kept pushing the limits of things that she had never tried before and never would have without me. And it was almost like she gained a daughter. She has 3 sons. And so she kind of gained a daughter. And so we had this, I was videotaping myself in the bathroom. I'm like, oh my God, Kevin. I was shooting video and sending it to him. I'm like, she's trying all these things. I'm so excited. And so
nice case, by the way, as you pull up the phone.
Why, thank you. They're available online for $1,000 each. But it was really nice because we really did bond. And honestly, when you have the go to black screen and 6 months later, we are so tight. And you'd think that this show would have drummed up some bad feelings, and it's done the complete opposite. It's brought us closer together. She feels so in the loop and so connected. And so it's been fun.
That's sweet.
Well, I mean,
that's
awesome. It's your job. That's what you do is you go out with celebrities or other people and you're interviewing them and you're doing fun things with them. So I can totally see how that worked wonders with you and Mother. And we want to squeeze in a quick question from Twitter from Celeb Dirty Laundry. Speaking of doing fun things with other people, we want to know if you can invite one A-list celeb onto your show and do an appearance, who would it be and what fun thing would you do? Like with Mother, you guys went to the spa. So what celeb and what would you do?
Ooh, I would totally have Jennifer Lopez.
Nice.
Okay.
Because every interview I've ever done with her, I felt like she was a cousin. She felt like family to me, and we had that kind of intimate kind of connection where it just felt comfortable and easy. And she's so sweet, and we would have so much fun shopping.
And that's what you guys would do, is go shopping?
Yeah, and Kathy would be like, oh my God, she's fabulous.
Yeah. So Kathy wouldn't mind that you were spending time with her because it's J-Lo.
Yeah, she'd be right up there with me.
Right. But tonight, I mean, we saw her get a little upset, and we can kind of understand how she would get a little upset because you were spending time with your mom. But I don't think that it was on purpose.
But also, think about this. Me and my mom are there, Kevin and his mom.
Exactly.
He also hadn't seen her up until that point. You don't know that. But that was really her first day there, other than the dinner. And so they kind of naturally went off. We started all together. They kind of naturally went off. And then I kind of naturally just went with my mom. And it's just easy. And I saw them talking, and I didn't want to interrupt them either because they're having their time. Yeah. But I felt like all of it was community time because we're all in the same store, we're all shopping. I wasn't thinking and by the way, you also don't see, I did go up with her with dress options. I was like, hey, what about this or what about that? And when Kevin saw my mom come out, what that moment was, what you didn't see is we had tried on all these dresses. My mom was scoring. The dresses were amazing. And she wasn't scoring. He's like, oh, she's going to love that. And I'm like, oh, frig my life.
Having so It's so strange to me, though, Maria, because I'm sitting here and I keep reminding myself, 15 years. They've been together 15 years. And this
16.
Looks 16. And this looks like a new relationship almost, you know, you're forming new bonds. And I wonder what it was that you feel like prevented you guys from forming this bond or connection earlier.
A lot of the early family drama.
Okay. And it just took that long, the backlash?
It created a lot of tension on both sides of the family. And so it took a while for all of that to heal. And honestly, like I said, distance and not seeing her a lot. You know, she's not somebody who's just going to jump on a plane and come out. My parents are like, what, tomorrow? Okay, let's go. You know, so they're just different, and they're different people. So
what made you feel like then this is the time, you know, I'm ready now and I want to have a bond and I want to connect?
I don't know. I know that something happened when we were back in Boston. I think we had come home and Kevin was like, that was really nice, because we really have never had a chance. And this was one of the beautiful things about the reality show, is that we did have more time. Like when we went back to Boston and experienced Boston with cameras just following us. So I don't think we've ever been able to do that. We were always working.
Right.
So it was like the brain shut off, and it was just family time and fun time and just living, which we don't get to do very often. I know it's hard for people to believe, but we really don't. So after 16 years, we finally had that moment. And when we came home, Kevin was like, that was really nice. And it was really nice spending time with my mom. And that was only our second dinner at her house ever.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
So, and the first time I remember was during very sensitively hard, tough times. So now all that's kind of gone. We have this nice dinner, even though it was awkward then too. But, you know, for the most part, it was only awkward because Kevin was saying, hey, I want to change my religion.
Yeah.
But I remember coming home and I could see Kevin was a little melancholy, and he kind of like was like, oh, you know, I wish this could like take that next step, and that's why I invited them out and tried.
Yeah.
So it's sounding like you're loving the experience of being filmed, and it's kind of opening up opportunities from you. And actually, Reality tweeted wondering, now that you dipped your toes into reality TV pool, are you game for a second season? We're all crossing
yeah. I mean, I would be. Yeah, I would be. I think that there's some things that could make it tricky, you know, time-wise. Exciting things. But yeah, I think if for the right situation, yeah, we'll figure it out, of course. Because I think that was the best part of this, is that we really did get to spend time together. And you guys didn't see, because it never became an episode, but we went to Greece as a family together last summer.
Yeah.
And we were hoping to film, and we weren't able to. But we all went to Greece, and man, I was shooting iPhone videos, and Kevin's mom and my dad are getting drunk in Mykonos, and the stories are flying, and all this crazy shit's going on, and I'm like, oh my god, if cameras were here right now.
So we're going back if there's a season 2.
Yeah, you guys have to do it in
for
Greece,
sure.
like, for sure.
Well, we had a moment. We went to this. I was baptizing my goddaughter there, and this is so crazy. So I was going to buy her cross, and the jeweler, as I was walking through and looking at everything, I saw this huge, gorgeous engagement ring. And I'm like, ooh, I normally don't like engagement rings, but that's awesome. That's so pretty. Cut to, the guy comes out, it's got it on my finger, and I'm like, wow, that's really beautiful.
I remember this video. Yeah, you posted it.
Yeah, he started working Kevin. Then Kevin, unbeknownst to me, started feeling guilty, like he didn't know if I wanted it, and so he didn't know what to do. And his mother's like, just buy it. Yeah. And so at some point, I'm so enthralled in the whole buying the cross thing. I give the ring back. The guy puts it in his pocket. Now Kevin is like on the spot, and literally it almost happened because he felt so
we have to see
pressure. The footage is hilarious, and Kevin's so mortified, and I'm like, we just almost got engaged because you felt so guilty, but also because he thought like I wanted it, and yeah, I mean, I kind of did, but like it was just so strange. It was that trip was hilarious.
Do you ever wish that you were engaged, Maria?
I don't see like the difference. I really don't. Like, I think for me, a wedding just represents a lot of time, a lot of work, and we don't have time for it. But I think that when it'll be important, although I'm not going to lie, I have been getting sentimental this last year. I'm not going to lie. From Valentine's Day, that was one day where I'm never sentimental because I'm always working, and this year I wasn't. So I actually got to feel. But I definitely am getting more sentimental about it. We are on 2 totally different pages, which keeps it off from not happening. But I do know that when we have kids, that's when shit's gonna hit the fan. We're gonna have to do everything
all at once. Same year.
And by the way, again, my dad won't be watching this, so I can say it. I do know that the ultimatum's coming. I do know my dad's gonna be like, we're not coming back if you don't do this. Like, I feel it coming.
Really?
And I thought he would have done it by now. I'm kind of impressed he's held on.
Yeah.
But,
So you're saying Costa could never live with the fact of you and Kevin never getting married and never having a kid?
I can't say that because it's been a long time. Like, we've gotten our way.
Feel something,
but
a conversation happened.
I actually had a conversation with Kevin like a month ago. I'm like, what if we accidentally got pregnant right now? My dad would flip out on us and say we have to get married like immediately. And he's like, no, he's not. I'm like, do you not know Costas? Like, what? So we'll see.
But as much drama and crap as Costas is giving you guys, and watching the season so far, like, it feels like you guys are leading up to that with the sperm doctor.
In this season of the show, you mean?
Yeah, this season of the show with
You're
Kevin
a very
converting
smart
to
girl.
Greek, and so
You're a smart girl.
Second
I will say
season.
this to tease all of you out there. There's a major commitment that goes on by the end of the season.
oh,
So don't miss another episode.
It freaks me out when I don't know what she's talking about. I'm like, I live this life.
I know.
Yeah.
We have one of 2 things, right?
By the way, we're really good secret keepers.
Apparently.
Speaking of major commitment, and that's like cliffhanger status right there, right?
Yeah, we should have got our AfterBuzz.
I know. We should got like
exclusive.
Someone fell asleep at the wheel.
Reality T tweeted, Maria, what's the biggest shock or surprise for you that has happened since you started filming the show?
I think it would be Kathy and I kind of getting to the place that we've gotten to where, you know, it's great. Like, I really look forward to talking to her and seeing her. And, you know, Kevin also has contributed a lot to the whole mother thing. Because he's like, he's always, he's like, mother's coming. Or like, so curmudgeon-y himself about it all. And so he's created a little bit of this too. I do not take the credit for this because I would never be like that.
Yeah, you're right. We do kind of notice a change in him when he starts talking about his mom or he's in front of his mom. We've mentioned it before on the show.
He like tiptoes around her, I feel like. You know?
Well, I do that with my dad. Yeah. I mean, I still do that with my dad too. I'm like,
you know, he grew up with her. You would think that he's like used to it. I guess you just don't get used to that.
No, she was just saying the same thing.
I'm still like that with my dad. I'm like,
okay.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
Yeah, I know, definitely.
I feel like it almost gives you, or you think it gives you permission to do the voice and do all that. Because you're watching him and you're like...
The voice thing, he started because he would mimic her. But by the way, I mimic my parents. So then I'm also a really good mimic, I think. And so,
give it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're pretty good at it, yeah.
So I adopted her, and I have like my Chicago friends. Like, I have different friends that I imitate anyway. So I never do it mean-spirited. It's just that's their accent. So my favorite is in the episodes is I mimic them. Like, I mimic her so many times in this episode. All of you, your heads spun like The Exorcist.
We look at you every time. Like,
oh no, am I gonna get in trouble for this one? Oh shit.
The funniest one is when you just said one word, you go, yeah.
It was awesome.
like, I think it comes so naturally now because you're so used to it.
No, and
Did you realize that you did it to her?
Did I?
Did you notice?
No.
When you guys were in the salon and you said, oh my God, you go, people are going to tell you, oh my God, you look so young.
Oh, yeah.
You said it to her face.
You really did. But it was like a
didn't even catch
half.
it.
It was like a half mimic. You
Yeah.
were like almost are doing it, but then you were like, oh,
It wasn't a full mimic.
It was
She
like an
didn't go for it.
incognito one. Like maybe she ain't
Like
gonna see
totally
that.
subconscious.
But she called you at all to mention anything
Your
about the
conscience came in.
imitation?
No, we've talked to her since. Like I said, she's been such a great sport about it all. And also, I think she gets it because I mimic my parents with her too. So she, but like, if I'm mimicking my parents, how would I be doing it in any kind of mean way to any of them? It's not like that.
Right.
Is she watching the show? Kathy watches the shows?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and she likes it?
Yeah. It's so funny how everyone's getting so recognized. Like, Joe's getting stopped on the streets for autographs.
Nice.
Oh my God.
I mean, get in line, ladies.
Right.
And then
we tried to set her up.
And Kathy, I don't know where Kevin is right now, but he has some good Kathy stories. People like being like, "Oh, I saw you on the show," and blah blah blah.
She probably loves
Yeah, she's
that.
very recognizable too.
Well, she's part of it now,
Yeah.
you know? She just kind of wanted to be part of the world, and now she is, which is really... It's really sweet.
One thing I like about the show is it's very relatable, and you guys are talking about topics that other TV shows aren't talking about.
Like sperm,
and
vibrators, the stuff. I'm like, sometimes I'm like,
yeah, but you guys are putting
filter.
yourselves out there. You know what I mean? As far as like talking about things like going to the sperm doctor, that's embarrassing to a man to put that on television. I mean, it is. So the fact
and
that
see, I
Kevin's-
don't think about it like that because that's how we are. So
Right.
I don't see that.
Yeah.
So go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
you.
but so with that, one thing that I thought was relatable with this episode is you guys going to Marshalls, and so I kind of want you to walk through
Marshalls.
that mentality of, because we all do it with people. Like you said, we don't really live life, and now we're kind of in this social world where we're always in our phones. So obviously you were nervous that mother was there, but how did you want to attack this situation of you and her kind of integrating? How did you want to control that versus it kind of ended up you guys splitting? But in your mind, what was going on there? Like, what should I say? What should I do? Like, how did you feel comfortable taking that step?
Okay. I think being a host, you know how to host. And, whether it's a party or whatever, like, I want everyone to be comfortable. I want everyone to be happy and have a good time. And so this was no different. When I walked in, I was like, okay, where are we starting? And they both said shoes. I'm like, okay, we're going to shoes. And we started in shoes. And I was helping both. I was like, oh, this would be great for you. No. And then I was like, oh, this. My mom was like, no. Whatever. So I was helping them. And then, like, just the natural gravitation towards what people wanted happened.
Right.
So she saw a dress over there and she went over to there, and then soon enough, her and Kevin are off. And so then I kind of like, followed over and was like, oh, this would be great and that would be great. So I have tons of iPhone footage because I shoot everything. And I'm also used to cameras, just finding out later that cameras didn't roll on shit. And I'm like, okay, I got it back up here. Go
Nice.
use this. But I was in the dressing room with them for like 2 hours helping them get dressed. So I would go into my mom's dressing room, put the dress on, fix her, and then Kathy would be like, Maria, help me. And so I'd go over to her, I'd help her, they'd come out. And so I did tons of duty. I did.
It's kind of adorable, though.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
but
awesome.
So it's about taking yourself out of the
By the
comfort
way,
zone.
I was demonized a little bit here because I really did do a lot of time. I did a lot of work, and I have the freaking proof. Damn it!
Why did
you
Kevin have
do.
such a different perception of what was going on?
Because that was okay. I think probably because she wasn't finding stuff she liked and she was a little bummed out. And I didn't spend time with her as much in the store. It was more like in the fitting room later. So I think he didn't get to see that vibe because he can't be in the dressing room.
Right.
Yeah,
Too.
guys don't get it.
You know what I mean? So it was like she wasn't happy. He didn't know if it was because me or whatever. And so
And she made that comment too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But I
Yeah.
mean, were you panicking when he said maybe you should take her to get a facial?
yeah, I'm
Panic
not
set
gonna
in?
lie. What I mean, yeah, I was like, don't you want to come too?
Yeah, just the thought of being
Chaperone,
alone.
supervisor.
What are we gonna talk
Your
about
mom
in
was
the car?
butthurt. She was like, well, I want my facial.
I know. No, she did. Oh wait, my mom was really bummed by the way.
She looked
Yeah.
a little bummed. You can see.
Yeah, you're so smart to pick up on that because she did. She wanted to come too, and I had to look at her. I'm like, Mom, I got to do the time. Sorry. Yeah.
Usually I would say
Yeah.
the more the merrier, but when you have your own mom to fall back on, then you wouldn't have been trying so hard to make conversation with Kathy. So I think
Yeah.
it is important that
And it's all about the quality time.
Yeah.
Which you put in the quality time.
Totally.
For
And if
sure.
my mom was there, it would have been totally different because they would have kind of spent time and I would have just been servicing them.
Exactly.
Right. Where now it was just us and we really did need that time.
Yeah.
So
You're going through talking points in your head. Like,
Yeah, like okay, we're gonna
first we'll talk about this.
no, I told you, wait till you see the awkward car video. You're gonna die.
Yeah,
can't
like,
wait to see that.
we need
worst.
like Maria's the lost iPhone
I know.
files
Yeah,
or something like that.
footage.
The archive.
Telling you,
my
I
God.
begged the production company. I'm like, please give me the footage so I can edit these digital outtakes because there's so much genius stuff on the cutting room floor that you wouldn't even imagine because you're shooting for 6 months and then they cut storylines together. It's a 30-minute show. It's what 20 minutes with commercials.
Right.
So really great stuff didn't make it.
Right.
And that was just one of them, because literally you could have put such amusing music underneath, and it was like dong, 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 dong. It was great.
I wish we could have seen more of the dinner scene. The dinner scene to me was, I feel like that was the turning point for you with Kathy.
Yeah.
You know, where she said some things that you were like, I felt like you wanted to high five her and, you know, smack your dad across the face.
Yeah, well, also,
he was on the opposite end.
All I've heard up until then from her is negative stuff. Like, I haven't heard anything positive. It's always been like, yeah, he needs credit and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, I'm not doing anything. It's not my fault.
Well, while you guys were bonding, Kathy mentioned that she thinks the reason that Kev is attracted to you is because you're like her. Do you agree that you guys have a lot of similarities, or are you just like, no, what the heck?
Well, it was funny because Kevin has said that before, and I didn't know how to I didn't know how to take that information at first. But when we were in the car, like I said, there were so many things. Like the north-south thing was like the first moment, and I was like, ooh, really? And because she's so smart, like she's Ivy League smart woman. So if she didn't know that, I felt so much better about myself too. And so we bonded it with that. But then there were like a million little things that came up from then that we connected on, and I was like, maybe he was onto something. And then when she said that, I'm like, okay, I give in.
Yeah.
Didn't she say in the spot, she's like, I think the reason he's attracted to you is because you're like me.
Yeah, that's what she was just saying.
Yeah.
How is it, like, okay, so we have Custis on one side, Kathy on the other side, two totally different opinions, and then we have Litsa. Where does she stand in all this?
Litsa stands very carefully because she's part of the old Greek farm system where you have to support the husband and zip it if you have any other opinions. But I know where she stands. I know she's just like, whatever makes you guys happy, you do. My grandmother was the same way. I'll never forget. God bless her. I thought about her today. Next question. No, my grandmother, I remember calling her like in the middle of just the saddest times when everyone was against Kevin and everyone was against us being together. And, you know, I was disowned and I had nowhere to live and it was just awful. I wanted to die. It was so painful. And I remember calling my grandmother in Greece and she said, does he love you? And I said, yes. And she's like, do you love him? I said, yes. And she goes, that's all that matters. She's like, you know what? I love him.
Aww.
I'm like, you're in the actual village and you're on my side.
Can you tell the villagers?
I know. Oh my God. I was in my kitchen window in Paris Street in Medford and just hysterically sobbing alone in my house. And I was like, I love you, Yaya.
And you just wish everything could be like that and everyone could have that. But what I was wondering, you were wondering how Litsa was standing. I'm wondering, what does Frankie even get a I like forgot about him and then I was like, oh yeah.
I saw a glimpse of
yeah.
Me and Frankie are tight. Frankie's on my side. But you know what's so funny is my dad and Frankie are super close, and my mom, like the four of them, the parents, love each other. They love spending time with each other. They have the best time together. So that's been so great over the years. Like whenever we have been together for, let's say, a quick thing in New York, if they've all come to visit, if we're doing an event or like Rachel Ray or whatever, they get along great. They have so much fun.
Does that dynamic ever get tricky though? Because Kathy is so outspoken and Kostas is so outspoken. Do they ever, like, we saw them bump heads a little at dinner, but does it ever happen outside of?
Or does she rub off on Litsa and Litsa comes back to Kostas like,
Oh yeah. Jesse, you're so smart. It's true. Like because she's very like, she's a feminist, you know, and she's just like, Litsa, like, you tell him how it's done, you know? And so definitely.
Litsa's like, I love that.
Definitely. And the men just stay
Kostas, you're gonna change his shirt now.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, but they always have a good time with each other. They don't talk about those kinds of things in those, like I said, we haven't all had a lot of time together. We're always on the go and they're coming to something, whether it's Dancing with the Stars or whatever. There's too much chaos going on. It's not like we're all sitting at a family dinner together. When does that happen?
Right.
Well, okay, so
and with wine.
Can we move on from the Kathy conversation? All right, so with that,
we've Yeah, go ahead.
Let's let Reality T is asking this, and this will be the final Kathy question that we have for you. But how is your relationship with Kevin's mom? Final statement. You and Kathy are how?
I think we're great.
Great.
And I'm really, really proud of it and really happy. Like I get teary-eyed about it because it's really nice. I never thought I was gonna be at odds with my in-laws. I had people like vying to buy me to be their daughter-in-law. Like no joke. And you know how it is in the Greek church. I actually had someone who had 2 daughters and a son. And he didn't have any of his daughters in his wallet. He had a picture of me and his son next to each other.
Wow.
Like literally like parents loved me. Like I'm a nice person. It's not like I'm this like horrible person that you wouldn't want your kid to be with. I never thought I would be in that situation.
You didn't kiss someone until you were 18.
Yeah. I'm a good girl.
It's so great that after so many years, you guys, it's like finally everything's cool and
clicking.
And clicking with this woman who you have a voice for. You know, that's amazing.
So, can we talk about the sperm now, guys?
I don't know if I want to dive into the sperm.
That was the other big
the
topic
varicose
today.
vein. And
When they started bringing up the vein and Kevin's right behind us, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so uncomfortable. I could like hear him breathing.
Even after watching the episode with you, you're like, well, now that that's up on the table, everyone knows about Kevin's sperm.
This was such an uncomfortable show to watch because I mean, first of all, it happens every week, but I'm like screaming. I'm smashing my feet on the tape on the floor because I can't even like. How do you react to all of this?
How did you react when you were at the doctor's office and he gives you that news? I mean, did you
didn't even see he cried. He super
looked like he
emotional.
cried.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, he was super emotional. It was really sad because, like I've been saying forever, we need a plan.
Right.
And he took it for granted, and I have been in that position before too. You know, it ended up being fine, but, you know, I had a doctor tell me that I couldn't have kids at one point, and we were both wailing, and we were both a hot mess because we had taken it for granted. And then I went and got another opinion. Of course, I was fine, luckily. But he didn't expect that. He didn't expect that news. I didn't expect that news either, but I guess in a weird way I kind of figured because
they made you go to the office
I
know they normally do, but there's always something when that call does come. Like, what was going on? And was he nervous?
I knew there was something.
Different,
I knew there was something, and he was resistant to going, and I knew that he knew deep down there was something.
Sure.
And like let's talk about the results. I mean, obviously, you know, knowing that we haven't gotten pregnant, there's obviously an issue. So
I have to say, you were so supportive, and I really admire that. Like, you were telling him this could be fixed. You know, we're in this together. And like you said, you have been telling him to do this for a long time. So a lot of people could have taken the route like, I told you so, or you should have listened to me before, or something like that. So I loved how you guys, it truly showed that like you guys really love each other. You really are in this together, and it's something that you're going to get through. You know?
Thanks.
It's definite teamwork, and I thought that it was really interesting, actually. We're 7 episodes deep, and tonight was the first time that I saw you guys almost turn your backs to the camera a little bit. You guys kind of got in the corner. You were talking to each other. Was this a moment where you were like, gosh, I wish that I wasn't filming a show right now. I just want to be with my partner? Or were you okay sharing this with the world?
We weren't even thinking about the cameras at that point, because when you're like kind of dealing with stuff like that, you're like, and that's probably why our backs were to the cameras.
You weren't even paying attention.
I wasn't even thinking about it.
And I think one of the
and that wall that you didn't notice, it was kind of blurred out. It was all
pictures?
Little kids that he helped, families that he helped along.
God.
So now we're staring at these pictures. And Kevin's like, and I'm like, honey, we're going to be fine. Like, you know, because you could have wallowed in really sad news, but also, like, I know people who've gotten far worse news.
Yeah, it wasn't the worst.
It wasn't the worst, and I had to keep it in perspective. And by the way, like, that's when reality cameras would want you to embellish things. And I'm like, you know, of course we didn't do that. I'm like, no, this is fixable. It's not easy, and obviously it requires you to have to go to a length that, you know, you don't want to necessarily go to, but it's fixable and we'll be fine. It's going to be a long road. It's going to be harder, but we're going to be fine.
And I think one of the themes, which is amazing, because you guys are in such a vulnerable state on this show, obviously, and one of the themes that keeps coming back is how badly you guys strive to make each other happy. So even after all that, Kev's like, I just want to make her happy, and I feel like I let her down, and it's just like, tear at my heartstrings. It's like,
I know.
For that to be one of the first things that comes to his mind is just like, amazing.
And it is such a vulnerable place to be, and you guys are sharing it for the entire world to see. It's such a personal thing that you got, sharing your life like this in a way that you never have before. It's like we're so used to seeing you on Extra and on television hosting things, but never this personal. And I wanted to ask you this question because it's from Celeb Dirty Laundry. They tweeted us and they're asking, Maria, do you ever have reservations about surrendering aspects of your private life to the cameras?
I have not thus far. Maybe I will be smarter the next time around. No, just kidding. I didn't realize how kind of shocking it would be to people, because this is just how we are, and this is how we talk, and this is who we are. And like I said, our whole goal from the beginning was to just be us. So I didn't realize till that first day I was on the Today Show with Kathy Lee, and she was like, "You are brave," and I'm like, "Oh no, what did I do? Oh no!" And then every week when like Jesse or you guys are like, you guys are really laying it out there, and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't think about it like that. But we really didn't think about it like that. We set out on a goal to just do a show and really make it authentic and have it really follow us, and we did that. And now when you watch it back with people, you feel those moments where you're like, oh, people are uncomfortable with these things out loud, and we didn't think about it like that. So maybe I'll pull back a little.
We mentioned this a couple weeks ago when you weren't here. We were saying how relatable you guys are because, as fans of yours and your viewers and whatnot, they look at you, they see you on TV, and a lot of celebrities, they think everyone has the perfect life and whatnot. So this really just like puts into perspective, like, oh, Maria and Keven have the same problems as us or as them or as regular everyday people. Have you gotten what kind of response have you gotten from like your fans and viewers and things like that?
Definitely that. I mean, the relatability factor, the connection. A lot of people are like, I see my relationship in you guys, or I'm you in the relationship, or, I got issues with my mother-in-law, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, across the board, or the women who are like, I don't know when I'm going to have kids either. And so we're kind of living vicariously through you.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it so interesting and abstract, because it's not that you guys are actively trying to have children and there's a problem, so now you're going to go fix it. It's you guys are taking precautions right now, because in case you do want to have children, which it does seem that you might want to one day, you need to figure it out now so that it doesn't become a problem that you could have solved and now can't. So it's like hard to even talk about, because I was going to ask you, and I think people have been tweeting and wondering if you thought about other options like adoption or if there was a problem, but are you guys even at this place where you're having conversations about what you would do? Or
we talk about it, yeah. I mean, it was funny. Keven the other night was like, when we decide to do this, he's like, maybe a surrogate isn't so bad. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, unless I can't, like, I definitely want to have one.
Yeah.
And so that was pillow talk like 3 nights ago.
And then, nice.
Yeah, because a friend of mine is like, you really should have a surrogate. I'm like, why? But I want to have that experience. If I'm going to do it, might as well have all the experience.
Yeah.
But I've always talked about adoption, and Keven, we've both talked about that. So who knows? I mean, he actually dropped a bomb on me the other day. How about this? AfterBuzz exclusive.
AfterBuzz exclusive. You got to say it first.
So he was saying, we're talking about how many, and I'm like, oh, definitely not more than 2. And he goes, really? And I go,
oh, geez.
What? I'm shocked.
I go,
he's mapping out.
Really? Oh, no. Get this. He said, I think like no more than 4.
Oh my.
Wow.
This is the man who has been saying no to any.
Yeah, but once you have one,
addicted.
He's like, oh, this is easy. Let's go.
And he's like, definitely not more than 4. He's like, and I'm like, you are a confusing human being. He confuses me on a daily basis, and that's why we're so confusing as a couple.
Well, do you think it was just the experience? Because I feel like I was a little shocked when he got so emotional at the doctor's office, and I was like, oh, you would think that he'd be like, oh, it's fine. I don't know if I really want kids anyway. And for him, and although the cameras didn't show like tears streaming down you could see like his eyes were a little red and glossy, and I was like, okay, he's either about to start crying or he was just crying or something. And I was kind of shocked.
He said it was a reality check for him too.
Yeah.
Well, there's a difference between don't want and can't.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, and it's been building up to this point. He actually found out that it was something wrong with him. It wasn't you. It wasn't the mixture. It was something on his end. So that had to.
The mixture? Did you say the mixture?
The concoction that was being made.
The formula that was in the chemistry lab.
He calls it stupid sperm. That's what he calls it.
Oh, but it's nothing wrong with his sperm.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, honey, how's the stupid sperm today? Like we joke about it, but
yes, you're right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the actual
Right.
sperm.
It's the varicose
The vein.
yeah.
Is he gonna do the surgery?
You guys get into it next
Oh,
week,
you
don't
can't
you?
tell. He can't. She can't.
Do we have
tell.
another
He
exclusive?
seemed a little mad about it.
That's
in
next
the
week's
scenes
episode.
for
A
next
little.
episode.
He like attacked me. I'm
why-
like, great, on camera and everything.
Why did he get so upset? And this is right after you guys got home because you were wearing the same outfit, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's when Kevin gets mad. Now you'll know what it's like.
Oh,
He's not always so sweet.
oh, that's funny. That's interesting.
Mr. Perfect went a little crazy. So yeah, you'll have to see. Like I said, first of all, this was 107. Okay, so just you wait. 108, 109, and 110. Bring out the Kleenex boxes. Bring them out for good and bad.
Well, we're getting a commitment, you say.
There are major health situations. There are major commitments. There are major everything. These next 3 episodes, honestly, are like can't miss.
We're done after 10.
And I'm not just saying that because of the fact that I want you to tune in. Like literally, if you have loved this show, you cannot miss these shows live. Trust me.
On that note, let's go to predictions. Because I have some things to say.
Now,
Predictions. I learned something
your
new.
AfterBuzz TV.
I love the lighting.
You're getting it.
Right? Yeah, it's happening slowly. The wrestling. Love it.
SummerSlam.
Love
I
it.
love
Me getting
that.
my ass kicked.
We all watched that unfold on, on the cameras and on Extra. They played a little bit of it and on social media, obviously. But I had no idea that Kevin was so mad about you doing it.
Yeah.
We had no idea. So tell us a little bit about that. Like he was worried about the moneymaker, the face. Like,
Yeah, he wasn't the only one that was mad. Wait till you see.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of
Sign
support.
something?
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of support on this one.
I had no idea.
You literally had to sign like a piece of paper like this.
So when you have decisions like this to make and you don't have a lot of support, what drives you to do something like this? It's just like something inherently in you and you're like, I got to do it?
Yeah.
I think for me, I mean, generally I have support around me when I'm going to do something, but if I really feel strongly at something, I do it.
Like the gay pride parade.
Yeah, and that wasn't the smartest thing to do for my boys at the time, but I was not going to let them down, and so you have to make decisions. I think for me, Kevin and I are generally on the same page, but even career-wise, if you knew, there's so many things along the way where I had to kind of veto him and say, I don't agree, I don't believe in this, I'm not going to do this. And he'll be like, no, but it's so good, and you've got it. And I'm like, no, I don't believe in it. I can't do it. And so sometimes you have to be an individual and make your own decision if that's something you disagree with. Like I said, most of the time we're on the same page. It's great. But at the end of the day, I only do what I fully believe in and what I take great advice from everybody and I filter it in like anybody else. But I really wanted to do it, and I don't have a lot of time to do it. I'm getting older and I definitely it gets harder and harder. I was at the chiropractor for 2 straight weeks after that match. Wow. My neck was so messed up. I'm sure you saw the shots of her smashing. Yeah. That's no joke, you guys. Like literally, I actually in the middle of that thought I was going to die. I did not think I was going to survive it. And you laugh, Jesse.
I can
let me
imagine
try it to you.
I wouldn't have even done it.
I was like, where did this come from? What is this person doing? And it was her first match, so she was super nervous. Yeah. And she's just going, bam, bam. Oh, fudge, that hurt. Bam, 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 bam. I'm like, yeah.
I thought it was all choreographed and like very.
Well, even if it's choreographed, you still have to do this.
Sure, but it's not like full on like, like.
And girl, like I said,
I got severely damaged. Oh man. So yeah,
That's crazy.
Just your way.
I've always loved that you rep the Greek flag.
Yeah. The outfit was amazing.
Doing it.
Always.
I can't wait to see. So next week we get to see you at, what is it, SummerSlam?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
I have a question before we wrap up. Because one thing we keep saying about this show being so relatable, I love that it's bringing a different type of role model to television, because it's a voice of somebody who went through the struggles and went through, with
You're
their...
speaking about my dad, right?
Yeah, I mean, partially.
I'm kidding.
But, you had to fight against your parents and leave your parents, and that's hard to do, especially from the community that we come from.
Trust me.
How did you not rebel? How did you, because, everything that you say today, it's kind of like people watch you on TV and it's like, she looks like she's perfect. And then when you watch it, it's like literally the things that you do, it's like you keep such a level head. How did you not, rebel and kind of be like, you know what, everyone hates me. Well, you know what, screw this. And
I'm doing drugs. I'm
but
getting
you did
whatever.
rebel in a positive way, but how did you not let that negative kind of take over? Like we see a lot today, like teen moms and all this, going on. Like,
Okay, so at which point in my life did I not rebel? As a teen being,
well, just
or as
After
an
they,
adult
disowned
after they
you.
Kinda
disowned
after
me?
the
how did you
disownment,
not?
yeah.
As
At any
feeling
point.
disowned and just feeling like I did all this. I was
Because
the good
it's
Greek
not
girl.
it's not who I am. I think that's at the end of the day, it's not who I am. And even though I'm a rebel and I'm a trailblazer in that way, but I'm not rebellious in that way. Like I definitely have a good head on my shoulders, and I think my parents did a good job, so maybe that's why. I think also having Keven next to me to make me feel okay about everything and going through it with somebody. If I was alone, I don't know how easy it would have been to survive it. I mean, I wouldn't have rebelled, and there's nothing I couldn't even imagine what I would do to rebel in that moment. I was just so devastated. I lost my whole family. It was sad. I was crushed. And
so,
then, you get past it.
So your advice to girls out there going through it is just kind of hold your emotions together.
Yeah, I think, you have to surround yourself with good people from go. Like your job in life as a human is, I always say I'm a collector of good people. And so I collect as many good people and keep them around me as possible, because they're there for the good, but they're there for the bad too. So whether you're 15 or you're 35, whatever your age you are, collect good people that you trust around you. You trust their judgment, you trust who they are as people and their character, so that when you are faced with adversity and you need help, you're going to have someone with good logical advice to follow.
Which goes back to you saying you're not into the frills, but if somebody needs something,
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you called me in the middle of the night and said, "Oh my God, I'm in a car accident," Keven and I would have been out of the. You'd still be talking. We'd already be there. Okay. If
I know.
I've
We
had
know.
I've had friends, people that I'm not even close with, call me with 911 calls, and just knowing you, my first instinct is to jump out and help, and Kevin's of course as well. So that's just who we are, and I get that from my parents too, and Keven of course, who's Superman.
Well, I'm hearing that Phil in the booth over here has a question. Phil.
Yes, Maria. So I wanted to ask, you saw Nikki Bella at the Hall of Fame when you did it for WWE, and she's one of the people that you didn't fight at SummerSlam, but there was a feud kind of going on. Will we ever see you in a match with Nikki Bella?
You have a feud?
Yeah.
I've seen stuff about this feud.
Yeah, she was injured and couldn't really wrestle. I mean, she was a part of the match, but she wasn't, in the ring officially. And so, yeah, the feud continues with the Bellas.
I guess that's
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Drama.
Yeah.
Drama
So
for your
much
mama.
to touch base on.
Yeah.
You actually have the Litza face in Marshall's right now.
Oh my god, I love it.
Cool. Any final thoughts, you guys?
I can't wait for next episode. I'm really excited.
Next
about
3
that.
episods.
The
I
next
know.
3
Now that
I know. I
She
can't
tells
believe there's
us-
only
Yeah.
3 more.
It's like we've been
Yeah.
on a roller coaster, and it's the best
I
part. We finally never know.
hands up.
I know.
Oh.
Yeah, it's true.
Are you ready for the next 3 episodes?
Oh my God, the next 3, I mean, even the second to last one, you will hysterically cry. I mean, next week's is, I can't remember next week's as much. I remember maybe because I was beaten so badly. But they're really, really tear jerkers. And then you know, I can't say anything without ruining it. Trust me.
Man. I'll bring the tissues, guys.
Bring the tissues,
Yeah,
please. Bring the box tissues. It's so cool. It's cool to get to know your family and, you know, the extended, not just your parents, but of course, Kathy.
Oh, there's a
and
lot of
Frankie
extended
and-
family coming.
Oh, cool. Really?
Another teaser.
That's like
We
3
have to wait
exclusives
weeks,
that we've gotten.
right?
Commitments, family. I mean, what can you get a commitment without family?
Conversion. The conversion.
They're coming.
That's what it is. I'm
Big
like,
commitment. I can't
I'm
wait for
not.
that.
that's going to be it.
You may think you know
How
it.
dare you, Maria, leave
Our
us.
good secret
You
keeper.
think you know, but you have no idea.
Don't say anything. They're playing the music to wrap us
Oh,
up.
Like, stop talking. Stop talking.
Okay, so here's what's going to happen. Thank you guys, and thanks to Oxygen, of course, for having us this evening.
Thank you so much for joining us. Everybody, please tell everyone where you guys can be found.
You can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar.
At DJ Jesse J.
Steph Bauer TV.
At I am Jessica Keven.
And I am at Susie Castillo. And Maria.
At Maria Menounos, I'm on here right now.
She's there
Back
right
to work.
now. Go say hello to Maria. All right, guys, we'll see you next time, next week, next Tuesday. Peace. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.